Welcome back. Many thanks to you for staying with us here on Citi TV. This is Breakfast Daily. It's time now to get into the newspapers to bring you some details of some of the headlines that have made it to the front pages of the dailies. Now, let me introduce my guest to you real quick, and then we can get into the matters. To my left is Larry Dogbe, editor of the Herald newspaper. Good morning.
Good morning, Chief.
And of course, to my right is Elvis Dako, editor of the Finder newspaper. Good morning, Elvis.
Good morning.
Right. I trust you're well, gentlemen.
I'm managing.
Sure.
Right. Welcome. So this morning, top of our stories is the Saglemi housing project. We know that the president recently commissioned a national housing policy or program, and following that, there's been concerns or comments regarding the abandoning of the Saglemi housing project. The former president, John Dramani Mahama, has spoken. I'll take a quick look into what he has said about the project so far. And John Mahama says, abandoning Saglemi housing project for National Cathedral, unacceptable. Now, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, John Mahama, has expressed a strong disapproval of President Nana Akufo-Addo's decision to abandon the Saglemi housing project and allocate over 500 million Ghana cedis to the National Cathedral project. In a Facebook post, the former president alleged that the government abandoned the Saglemi housing project solely because it was initiated during his administration. President Akufo-Addo on Tuesday, August 1, held a sword-cutting ceremony to kickstart the construction of 8,000 units of affordable houses with support from the private sector. Now, during the ceremony, President Akufo-Addo justified the decision to abandon the Saglemi housing project, stating that completing it would have resulted in increased national debt. But in response to the president's explanation, former President Mahama criticized the government, claiming that the inability to raise funds for the Saglemi housing project while allocating a significant amount to the National Cathedral is a humiliating slap in the face of Ghanaians. The Daily Guide also captures this story. It's on the front page, says Mahama jabs Nana after blowing $200 million on Saglemi project. And if you go into the Chronicle newspaper as well, on the front page says Saglemi housing project, Mahama is pissed off, accuses government of digging largest civil excavation in Africa in the name of National Cathedral, but neglecting his baby project. Elvis, let me start with you. Would it have been prudent to complete Saglemi before going into a new affordable housing project?
Sure. Saglemi, whether we like it or not, is public money. It's part of our public debt. So it's important that whatever started with public money, we complete it and make use of it. So for me, I'm not the person who will say Saglemi should be left to rot. No.
But you see, it's not been left to rot totally because the government has rolled out a plan to engage a private investor to take over.
Don't go there. Let me tell you. See, this is where we have a problem. Okay? In principle, I am opposed to National Cathedral, so I back Mahama that we shouldn't do National Cathedral. But at the same time, former President Mahama is not being fair to Ghanaians because you have gone for a loan of $200 million that you are going to build 5,000 housing units.
Yeah.
You went to Parliament, approved that build 5,000 housing units with the money.
Yeah.
You have left power, and the total housing unit is 1,502. That 1,502 housing units that have been built, not a single one is 100% complete. It's between 4% and 92% complete. So not a single house there is complete.
100% complete.
Out of that, that aside, the entire place has no water. There's no water in the facility. There's no drainage in the system. All the things that people need to be able to stay at the place as a settlement, none of them exist. All that exists there are just the structures of the building.
Yeah.
Ghana Water has been asked to provide estimates to put water there. The estimate is almost 100 million. About 90-something million Ghana Water is quoting. Now, they went to Community Water and Sanitation Agency, and their estimate is around 60 million. Just for water. Just for water. Dollars, so not cedis, so $1 million just for water. Drainage and all the rest current estimate, AESL has done a work there, and they are quoting about 30 million to complete the 1,502 for it to all the buildings to be actually completed and habitable. According to AESL, which is a state agency, we need another $30 million plus to be able to complete just the structures. So if former President Mahama wants to be fair to us, he should be telling us how come the $200 million per their own arrangement at the time is capable of building 5,000 house units. Yet they have not been able to do that, and they have been able to build only 1,502. And that 1,502 that he's saying that has been abandoned, not a single one is even fully complete. There is no water, there is no drainage. The place is not a place that anybody can move there and live in, because all the things you need to be able to live in a settlement does not exist. So you see, this is the political game we are playing with Ghana money. Once he has taken $200 million, and instead of 5,000 houses, we have only 1,500 and not completed. And now we need about $150 million. If the 1,500 to be completed and put to use, the latest estimates that we need at least $150 million to be able to do that. He's not talking about where is the rest of the money. He's not talking about how come we are not able to complete it. Since this issue came up, former President has never commented, has never given Ghanaians any explanation as to why $200 million for 5,000 house units has not been able to do that. But he finds it necessary to rather accuse the current government of abandoning it and said that they should have invested money in cathedral, which I agree that for the cathedral, me in principle, I'm against state money going to the cathedral. I agree with him. But I want him to also come out and tell Ghanaians how come he told the nation, sent a deal to parliament and is approved, that $200 million will build 5,000 house units, and he ended up building just 1,502, and that 1,502 has nothing like water, sanitary, anything, and the buildings are not actually places people can inhabit. I think he owes us an explanation for us to be told why we are there. Because right now, if we should add $140 or $50 million to the $200 million, it means that the Saglem housing project, 1,500 units, will now be worth $350 million. Divide by the housing, and that's how much one house will cost. One house will be costing you more than $150,000. Where in the world will you tell me that an affordable housing scheme that will cost that much? Since that time we mentioned $1 million in Ghana, we think it is like our city. We are talking about dollars here, not cities. And you are telling me that 1,500 housing units.
That the pricing of affordable housing.
Are you talking about it? So he has the right to criticize Akufo-Addo for spending money on the cathedral, which I agree. But he also owes us an explanation why he could not account for the $200 million for 5,000 housing units. I think we need that from him. Can he also give us that information?
Let me pick Larry's thoughts on this issue. The president, or the former president.
That was a lot of fire.
I know, right? I mean, the former president is not happy with the fact that a new housing project is being started as against what he started and not completed. Now, he thinks that government should have committed resources to complete that instead of going into a new one. Or better still, even instead of going into the cathedral project at all. What are your thoughts on this?
Thank you. But I think that, first of all, we need to start it from this point. What is our national housing policy? You get it? I'm not aware of it. I'm not sure you are. I don't think maybe Elvis could be aware of that. Now, is it a case where we have come out with a strategy that every 5 years or so, or every 4 years, we need to put, this is the stand, number of units, okay, and that this is our population growth, okay, and therefore we need this number of houses just to, to cater for the growing population. That is where we need to start from, first of all. Because in my lifetime, I have seen the only project that I can talk about that has, been of some level of value is the Snate Housing Project in Adenta, Snate Housing Project in Sakumono. And then, I think so.
Dansuma.
Okay, all right, Dansuma also. And apparently, that Champong, that I didn't witness. But, you know, Achampo government also put up Dansuman.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, but under President Kufuor, and then this next one happened when President Rawlings was in office. Under President Kufuor, towards his, you know, dying embers, he did the Borteman. Borteman, before everything could go on, I recall a list came out of, you know, ministers of state and other government appointees who had gotten all these, you know, houses allocated to them, even before the completion.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, let's put that aside. Then comes in Saglemi. He talked about 5,000 houses, you know, and then later we discovered that, or it's been discovered that it was only 1,005 houses. No electricity, he mentioned, no water, no drainage system. I mean, I don't know who would do a thing like that, because these are the key things that you need to put in place, first of all, before any other thing. Because you even need the water. How were they able to construct those houses if there was no water at the site?
So clearly that will increase the cost.
Do you get it? Because you need water at sites to do that.
So they were bringing water from
elsewhere. Where were they bringing it from?
Increased cost.
Was it by was it by water tanks or whatever? I want to have that looked at. But we need to have a copy of that investigation, that investigative report to know the content of it. More because then aspects of this, what we are discussing, is in court.
Yeah, definitely.
And so we need to tread cautiously so that we wouldn't be in contempt of court. Anybody at all can cite us for contempt of court.
Clearly.
And so we need to be very, very, very careful. Having said that, National Cathedral, I think that President Mahama would have to be definite on National Cathedral. Would he stop it when he wins power? I think I would want to hear that narrative. Or I won't stop it, I'll continue it. You get what I'm saying?
But then would that not bring us back to abandoned projects?
No, it is not an abandoned project. It's just saying that, listen, I want to prioritize it. Okay, I feel that what it's happening is a useless cause. He's against it. I'm sure you're also against it. I'm equally against it. Let's talk to any of your guys here. I'm sure a lot of them are against it. To a point where even the churches are against it. Today, they told us that, it's going to cost us this amount of money. The following day, the Minister of Finance comes to say a different thing. Then money is being dished out to people, left, right, center. So we don't, National Cathedral Elvis, it has become like the celebration of Ghana at 50, where we were told that it was going to cost us a certain amount of money, $20 million. At the time when the Mills government took over, it had run into $50 million or something. Suddenly, they were putting up Jubilee houses, Jubilee parks, Jubilee that, Jubilee that, Jubilee that, Jubilee that. National Cathedral has become like something of a sort.
We were told that this was not a government of Ghana project.
Precisely that. Thank you. That was what we were told. But then later on, then everything changed. They were taking money, flying, pastors and all manner of people outside the country to go and preach and gather money. Israel they went, US they went, UK they had been. Nothing came out of it. Then suddenly we were being told that, listen, we needed to go, money was to come from the National Kitty to do a thing like this. The priority is completely missing. For me, if President Mahama wants to condemn that project, he needs to be definite about it. He should tell us that, hey, guys, when I come, I'm going to stop this thing. I'm going to revert the land back to the original use, which is that it is going to be used to put up the bungalows that were destroyed at the site. Okay, so that the judges and other state officials could be nearer to the ministries or their places of work, such that anytime they are needed, they could come. They can commute to work easily and then work for the state.
But you see, he is a politician. I'm sure he must have weighed what damage or gain being definite on the cathedral would do to him.
No, I think that, this being non-committal in some of these things, I mean, it doesn't sit well with me.
But that's what the politicians do.
No, but the politicians are human beings, first of all. Before, any other consideration. anybody at all is a political animal, or we are all political animals. Either we are participants or their acts affect us.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying? So he needs to be definite on it. Guys, I am going to clear this thing, fill that hole, put up, bungalows, and then get state officials to work in there so that we all know that, listen, President Akufo-Addo, lied to us, first of all, dug a hole that, has become the most expensive hole in the entire world.
How that came about, I am still baffled.
You get it.
Who was making the cost of various holes around the world?
Do you understand? And then, one moment he tells us that he's putting up, it's going to even, part of it is going to house the presidential cemetery. At that time, the whole thing is so murky. You don't know where this whole thing is going. And how many days more does the man have to leave office? Do you think that this can, do anything? They even gave us a timeline that they were going to construct a thing. Later on, they started massaging our brains to say that, do you know something? Even there's one somewhere in the U.S. that took about how many years? 100 years to construct. Jesus Christ. See, I'm saying this because, there are a lot of what I call kiosk estates in the city. Slums.
Yeah.
You could be driving in town, you see a kiosk on this, what you call it, Kia Trucks.
The Kia Trucks, yeah.
And you know something.
That's a full relocation process.
Say, if you go to East Lagos, which is supposed to be a prime area, kiosk,
Kiosk estates and container estates. You talk to people and they tell you, I live, here, East Legon. You live in East Legon, where in particular? Then,
we'll start giving you some names.
And so on. Domiabra, all those other places and so on. And these are kiosk estates. What is our housing, policy?
For me, even the location of the cathedral is quite problematic.
Yes.
Ofu-Bonye did one of the biggest basilicas in Côte d'Ivoire.
And it's one of the useless...
It's somewhere in Yamoussoukro, not even in Abidjan. You get it. And it's so huge, it gets the numbers and all that.
Well, it doesn't really get the numbers. Yes. That has also even become a white elephant, really.
Now that the Vatican has taken over it, and then the Vatican
and because he built it for the Catholic Church.
Exactly.
By his public money. See, most of the cathedrals we talk about today that we travel abroad and visit were not built in this century. These are cathedrals were built at the time that kings and queens were ruling the world. So they have a reason for... Now, we are not in that kind of era. If a private person wants to build, or churches in Ghana come together to build a cathedral, it's not my place to tell them to or not to. Rwanda, right now, the Catholic Church is going to build a very big cathedral. It's the Catholic Church that is building, not the government of Rwanda. But when you are telling me that we want to use public money to build a cathedral, that, in principle, personally, I disagree. So, in terms of the cathedral, if you ask me 100 years, I'll still tell you that to use public money to build a cathedral, I think that I disagree. Look at the beautiful, how much did you say, 3.5 million. Look at how we have transformed Nkrumah Mausoleum. So we have attractions all around that if we decide to turn Accra even to a tourism hub, there is a lot we can do to turn it. Look at the way we turn Asumdwe Park to look so beautiful. But there are so many other monuments also within the same Accra. Look at the James Fort prison. That is something that we could completely transform, because it's a historical thing that people want to travel to come and see. I have always said, you say what we said, the cathedral have a Bible museum. I said, which historical Bible are you going to put there? That is not in Rome. And if you go to Anakazo here, they have a Bible museum.
We went to bring a stone from where? Israel?
So these are some of the reasons why I personally will tell you that I don't agree with the issue of the new housing that they're going to be built. There is a clear difference between what is to be done there and what Saglame has done. Saglame is that we went for a loan and so we are building affordable housing. The new housing that they want to do, the government new policy now is that there are state lands all over the place. Government will spend money to put the social amenities, the roads, the water, the drainage system, maybe electricity, all the thing, water, everything that is needed at the place. That's what government is spending.
Have you seen the report?
And give the land.
Have you seen the investigative report?
No, I'm not talking about the new one.
The one.
That's what Saglame, all the issues are in court. So if you want to, if you follow the court, you get to know all the issues about it. If you get the court records, everything you want to know about the Saglame is really contained in the court record. But for the Pokwa, the government says they want to spend money to provide all this, demarcate the land, and then give the land to private estate developers. So the private estate, they are now going to build the houses and sell to us. So actually, government is not the one that is going to, the house are going to build the Pokwa. The government money is not actually going to the building. And the selling, government doesn't get any money out of the selling. So government said because it's providing all these things, per the real estate estimates, if you spend money on all this, they should be able to reduce the price of a house
Who owns the land
by
in
about
Pokwa?
40%.
Who owns the land in Pokwa?
That's government land. It's state land. And state is saying that, this government is saying that they think that the previous approach of government going for money and say, I want to build a housing and sell has failed. Compared to from Restri, almost all the time, from, as I said, from Kufuor to this one and so many other, they have all failed. So the new approach to public housing, in terms of government building a house now, is that let's rather use state lands and find money to provide.
But state housing has completed at Sokori Mampo.
Yeah, no, they've not finished. State housing is completing some of the housing. They also have their own, but they are the Minister of Housing.
So why would
the
we
policy,
get state
housing
housing to lead the
exactly.
narrative?
the housing, the ones that are there, like the Kufuor and the ones, some of them are being completed by SNIT, and some of them being completed by state housing.
Right.
But this new policy is that government land, government money will be used to demarcate the land, provide the roads, water, electricity, everything, and then the land will then is made available to private estate developers who now develop the houses and sell to the public. The government view is that if it is done by the private people that way, what we have now, where the projects get uncompleted and then it becomes ding-dong affair, will no longer be the issue. So the new affordable housing, or what has been launched, has a complete different
Concept.
compared to
More of
the
a PPP
Kufuor
type of.
Yeah, more of the Kufuor and the Sagleme type. So this is not where situation government is going to put up the building. All government will do is they provide the facilities, and then private people build the housing, and that's why you see the price of the housing. And per their calculation, they say those prices meant that the houses to be built at the place are about 40% subsidized. So if not that government is providing the land and providing all those facilities, the house, the price mentioned in those could be like 40% more than what is being quoted. So that is the new concept of housing that the government
But
wants to do.
will
So
the
we can say
prices
that is
remain
like
same in the 14 months they envisage to complete the project?
no 18 months. It's 18 months to consult the first
Will the
phase.
prices remain same?
No, it's in
Because
dollars. So
we
it
know
will
how
remain,
the-
yeah, no, it remains same. It's in dollars. That's why they quote it in
It
dollars.
wouldn't.
It wouldn't.
It wouldn't.
That's why they quote in dollars. The price will not change in dollars. But if the city depreciates, it means that you need more cities to be
That's
able to
what the
afford that.
problem is.
No, that's
Yeah,
the issue.
It wouldn't.
No, it's
So
no,
the
that's the
dollar,
policy.
so the dollar peg will stay same,
dollar will
but you
peg
need
same.
more
But
CDs
you need
now
more cities. If
to
the
get
city
to that same
depreciates,
dollar.
that means that you are paying in cities, so it means that you are going to pay more dollar.
Elvis.
So it's
Yeah,
still
more-
costing us
Elvis,
more.
Elvis, please. You have too much confidence in this
I
system.
don't have confidence. I'm only stating the position, what they put
I
out
mean, listen,
as the policy.
I mean, let's go even back to Saglemi.
Okay.
At the time, 2016, when 2017, when MPP took over, or Nanado took over, they stopped the project, said they were investigating
Yes.
it. That project could even have continued with all the investigation going on.
Simultaneously.
No,
yes.
it can't continue. No, it can't continue because the money we took was a loan put in an escrow account. The money is exhausted. What money are you going to continue with it? The issue of the Sagame is not only about investigation. No. The only reason investigation came in was that
Yes.
the government created an escrow account. The loan was from Brazil. That's why a Brazilian company was constructing the place.
Okay.
And we put the money in an escrow account and says, based on delivery, the company gets paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that this is how many houses they are supposed to build. So when the MPP came and they went and looked at the project, they like 1,500. So then there should be more money left in the account to continue the project.
Exactly.
Okay.
But then when they went to the account, the money is exhausted. That is what actually led to the stop of stuff. If the money remains in the account, Sagam would have continued. Then the MPP said, but if all the money is exhausted, yet you are built only 1,500, then that thing has to be wrong, and we must look into it. So Sagam didn't stop because of only investigation. It's because the
money
entire
was
money we
exhausted.
want to as a loan to just start the project.
$200
and do
million.
To do the entire
I
project.
recall.
It's exhausted.
I recall Atacha as the minister for
Works and Housing.
Works and Housing. Visited the project site, described it as a very laudable project, and that it was going to continue. Okay, I am being a bit cautious because I would want to see the content of that investigative report, whether or not, you know, these people who are on trial now,
Yeah.
their input were sought. You get it? And from what you're saying, it's quite a serious thing that 200 million
For
that
5,000
houses
is exhausted.
is exhausted.
And there's only
1,005 houses.
which are not even habitable as it stands.
You get it, exactly. But then having stopped it all this while, dollar is no longer the same. Obvious, okay? And then look at the time. How many years now? So whatever was there, deterioration has,
Setting.
exactly. Maintenance, obviously missing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, the cost is going to go up again. We will need more dollars to finish
finish
up
the
that
project.
project.
Yeah.
My personal issue with Saglemi is I use that road to my village every now and then. I thought that whoever conceived the idea, they should have expanded that road first of all. Because the road is quite narrow. And imagine you run all the way from Aflao. By the time you get to the motorway, or the traffic actually even starts from
Sometimes now, we're going.
Oh, no, not Dowenya. Oh, Dowenya, you've gone too far. Beyond Dowenya, you're almost in Accra. But where Otabel's church is, sorry, school, university. Myocho.
Yeah.
Even beyond Myocho, that is where the traffic starts. Do you recall there was a video of President Rawlings who was directing traffic around that area?
Yeah.
That is the extent of, what we're talking about. And so, there is even an idea to put up a flyover around the Pram Junction, that area,
it's
there,
ongoing.
expand the road, do other things and so on.
The construction is ongoing.
So
So
for
the expansion
me,
of the road has started, but they're doing the flyover.
that should have been done, by the NDC government at the time, and then Saglemi would have been made so attractive.
Yeah.
You get it? You will even love to
That is
be there.
even if all the existing, amenities required to
You
make the
get
place
it.
habitable are existent.
But I keep asking, if 1,005 houses were put up, where did the people get the water to put up the house, the houses? Because then, if they had to,
They will buy-
buy
water,
water,
yeah. It means that they
then
will buy-
it took so
It means
much.
that-
Perhaps that's
so
why the
much
money is
water.
Yeah, the fact that there's no water there.
Perhaps that's why
They are
the
not
money is
sanitary
finished.
facilities.
The money went into water.
Because my big worry
Oh, the
is
money
that-
can, all that money can go into it.
So the water, electricity, the drainage,
No,
was it part of the initial 200 million for
Again,
the
on the,
5,000?
Everything.
on the electricity,
Everything.
Elvis, on the
Supposed to-
electricity, again, I have used that place in the night. And at the time when the construction was going on, unless of course I'm coming,
No,
unless of course
electricity is there. There's not about electricity. It's about water. It's about
no,
sanitation.
electricity.
And
I
the
had
drainage.
the minister now. What's his name?
Asenso Boachi.
Saying that they had spoken to ECG, and ECG gave them a bill of $80 million.
No, that's water. Maybe you are confused. It's water. Ghana water.
Ghana water.
So they moved to sanitation and
The drainage
community
system.
water and sanitation
No,
agency.
I heard the guy
CW.
very
Who said
well.
they can do
I watched him on Joy News,
Who said
where
they
he
can do
mentioned
it at
electricity
60
as
million?
well.
Perhaps there is electricity, but then they need to connect to the various buildings.
You understand?
Okay.
So perhaps that's where the
No,
cost.
he says taking electricity to the site. But,
but that area,
anytime I
electricity
use that
shouldn't
road,
be-
the place is well lit. When the project was going on, the place was quite lit. So, the bit about electricity really,
No,
raised
the
my
point is
antennas.
there could be light, but you may need more transformers
More-
because
we
now
need
you have
more
to
li-
connect to
we
the
need
house.
more light.
Right.
No, not more light. You need, no, it's our current, so you need, so you see, Larry, as you have said, the question is, what is our national housing policy?
Yeah.
You see, as a country, I have the opinion, and I was suggesting that, look, even this housing we are saying private portion bills make the money. If you ask me, I disagree. Okay. If you ask me, since this group want to deal with doctors, nurses, known groups that work for the state, and I ask myself, why can't we say we have created a scheme, 1 bedroom apartment, this, that is, if you are a public sector worker and you are interested, submit your name. If it is 1 bedroom, maybe you pay 500 cedis a month,
So we make
or this you
monthly
pay this a
deductions from
month,
your
so
salary.
that it's direct deduction. Why can't we use that kind of approach to do this project? What it will mean is that government can now say that we have 600,000 workers on the public payroll. Let's even say that 300,000 apply that they want the houses. You can then estimate how much revenue that you generate a month. All you need to do is go for an Eurobond to do the project and know that the process from those deductions per 10 years or 15 years would pay for the project.
Obviously, that's a workable idea.
So I think that private investment, private people is also about profit. They also need to make profit.
Exactly.
But if we adopt mechanisms like this, where the person's salary deduction is done, there's no profit motivation there. And I think that we should be looking at other options than say private persons should go and build a house and sell to the public. Well, it's one option, but then we have to look at other options. And I think there could be other alternative options like the one I said. I think it would be far better for a Ghanaian worker to know that I'm paying 500 cedis, and for the next 15 years, I will own a one-bedroom or two-bedroom apartment.
Granted. We wait to see upon completion whether the affordable housing will be actually affordable to the ordinary Ghanaian.
No, but among the mentions not affordable. Dollars. Compared to today's city, how many people can say
the news review here on Breakfast Daily. I still have Elvis Darko and Larry Dogbe here with me. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Dede so mu se me gina ha na eye Franco Trading Enterprise omo television papa no na me gusu a me di ho adanse e kiro se wo see hotels, hospitals, schools, offices, apartments, sorry na wo pet TV papa e di abomu eye Franco Television ababa wani abranti a wasiso wo pet TV di abawo dem a enhwe ba bia se Franco Trading Enterprise. Your television set sizes be brave. Your 24 inches for her, 32 inches for her, 43 inches for her, 55 inches, and I can see 65 inches. It's a show baby. Bra Franco Trading Enterprise. Franco Trading Enterprise. Television papa. I feel anyhow.
This is the neighborhood I'm having my twins.
The very reason why I took it for us. See, the price is very good and it's spacious to contain all of us.
Alphabet City. Now I'm a landlord. I don't pay rent. And my Airbnb business is booming.
To me, Pamini, bank and I'm not say another Alphabet City. The pension pay me 20%. The payment plan, I want to share my just say very smooth.
This is a healthy place to raise our families and creating peace. Come on, be my neighbor.
Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Alphabet City is a classy and peaceful gated community in Sakumono. We have 24/7 top-notch security and high-quality access roads. We have 3 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, 3 bedrooms and 3 washrooms with boys' quarters. We have 3 bedrooms and 4 washrooms. We have 2 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, all with beautiful kitchens and kitchenettes. Call Alphabet City on 0240-111119 or 050-44-99999. Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily. We're discussing some of the stories that made it into the newspapers. Let's get into the cylinder recirculation model. Now, the National Petroleum Authority has set September for the implementation or the rollout of this particular model. A number of concerns have come up. Let's take this story by Kaba Tawoge of the Citi newsroom, where the LPG marketers are kicking against the early implementation of the model. Now, Liquefied Petroleum Gas LPG Marketers Association has kicked against plans by the National Petroleum Authority to implement the cylinder recirculation model in September. The association argues that the September date is too early for the policy's implementation and could lead to misunderstandings. The association thus emphasized the need for intensified public education before a complete rollout. Gabriel Kumi, the vice president of the LPG Marketers Association, informed Saloma Donu on Eyewitness News on Citi FM that the confusion surrounding the model indicates that the NPA should proceed cautiously. NPA has set next month for the implementation, and so we have less than a month, and the public confusion indicates that consumers are not ready. And so there is a need to educate the public on the model so that we don't confuse the public in the rollout of the model. This is Gabriel Kumi, Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association, speaking there. Now, so per the program, there will be bottling plants where you go pick a bottle, make payments, and take home.
You don't go to bottling plant, please.
You don't go to the bottling plants.
Please. You see, maybe, as you said,
because
I don't know what
this is going to phase out their gas filling stations.
Yes, I understand. See, the private people, I understand, they've made investments.
Right.
And they felt that they didn't have enough money to go into the bottling plants. They are still not out of business. They will still become the centers where you go and pick the cylinders. But probably, maybe they are looking at, maybe their profit margin for just people coming to pick cylinders will really not be as if they are doing the filling and
selling
everything
the product itself.
So nobody is going to a bottling plant to go and take anything. That is the fact. The fact is that this is how the policy works. The bottling plants will fill the gas. Then the gas, they will have cars that will pick the filled bottles from the plant to various distribution centers. For they also are major distributors like this company, those that were registered as major distributors, they will send it to them. They will have retail centers that they will also transport these gas cylinders and go and put at the retail centers. So as a user, if I come, all I need to do is, if I want to use 14.5 kg or 10 kg. How much is 10 kg? I pay. They give me. I take home. I go and use it. When it's finished, I bring it back, come and pay, and I take and go and use it. So no individual is going to any bottling plant. No. There's nothing like that. Nobody's
going to the distributors.
You are going to retail centers and to go and pick up. So if there's a gas filling station here, what is going to happen is that there are tanks that there's gas in it, and the cars come to discharge gas and everything into it. It's no longer going to be the case.
Okay.
But they will put the place like a retail center, like you have a shop,
a supermarket,
like a supermarket, and then the fill cylinders will be brought with vehicles and you just pack it. And so all those who used to come and fill will no longer come there to fill. They will only come and pick the fill cylinders and take it home.
Okay.
And MPA, knowing that this thing will take some time, they have decided to run it side by side.
Okay.
So these people will take some time to be able to phase out before there will completely be no filling station. Even the filling station, the MPA has a plan that because some vehicles use it, there will still be stations that will still actually dispense gas, but that will be only for vehicles, for those that use gas in vehicle. So it's not about you walking to the bottling plant. It's about you just walking to the same place you have been filling your gas. But when you go there this time round, you are not going to put your gas there and they will fill it for you. You just take the empty cylinder there, and there are filled cylinders packed there. You go, and then if the quantity you want to buy, you pay for it, then they just give you a cylinder.
I don't know has there been any explanation on the impact on the final cost of the product?
No.
Because previously I walked to...
Yes, they said there's no impact. The price will remain the same. NPA says it's not going to affect the price of what we buy. You are paying for the content, not the cylinder. That is what the NPA says. You are paying for the content. So you just pick, you go and use. When it's finished, you bring it back. If the cylinder comes and goes to the bottling plant and there's a problem, they'll fix it there. It's not your business. Because you are not... It's not
if
like
there's a damage to the cylinder...
It's not your business. When they take it to the plant and there's a problem, it's their problem to fix it.
So the state is bearing that cost?
Yeah, so now you no longer own the cylinder. Like now I own my cylinder, I pick the same cylinder. It's no longer that way. Now, if you go there, just pay any available cylinder that's full, they give it to you, go and use. When it's full, come and pick another one. So you see, as he said, probably people have been under the impression that maybe they have to go to bottling plants. No.
Yeah.
And you see, with the new policy, what I like about the new policy, I think that it's going to make the product more available to people in rural communities. You see, setting up a filling station is expensive. So if you look around Ghana now, you go to many rural communities, people wish they could use gas, but the next filling station is very far away. So they are not able to go there. But now with the new policy, what it meant that the far away place they used to go to will now register and get the bottles in quantities. Somebody in the village can now build a small a retail center, and the cylinders will be put there, and you just go and pick, and then use. So your transportation, I'm going to that far place to go and fuel and gas. And so you see, I think that, as he said, maybe the NPA need to increase dedication. On the, as for these people, I understand them. See, many of them made investments. But I see, as a country, if we decide to implement a policy, we should also be mindful of the timelines. 2013 was the first time that this policy came into being. 2013. We are in 2023, so it's been 10 years we have been trying to implement one policy, and we are yet to roll it out. And somebody is saying that we should still extend the rollout. I think that once the nation takes the decision that we want to do it, and consultation has been done, they have problem with their investment because not all of them could make that good money. But see, then there are other options that they can. As I said, you may not be filling the gas anymore, but that station still can take the cylinders. People will come and take and go. But maybe it's your profit margin. You think that when you were filling it, probably you were making more money than they will come and put the full cylinders. Someone will come and pick and just come and see. So, and then one aspect is that they say they want to have data on usage. So now that, and because they want to know who has their cylinders, because cylinder is no longer yours. It's for the company. So now what they want is that everybody that will get a cylinder will need to have some form of ID, like a Ghana card. So if the station is here and this is where I pick my gas, I have to register with the station. And they'll have to have a copy of my Ghana card. So they know that this is my address, this is LV, this is phone number. So if I take the cylinder and I'm not bringing it, they know that this cylinder is with me. So that aspect, I think, is where MP also need to emphasize education. That when the policy rolls out, you will be required to register so that they know that this cylinder is with you. This cylinder, because the cylinder is not like this time around when you own your cylinder, you take it there, you take the same cylinder back. Now the cylinder is owned by the companies, and you are just picking and using the content and returning it. And one challenge that people have raised, and I think it's a valid challenge, is that now people are not able to buy the full 14.5 or this. Somebody goes to the station and says, well, I want to buy 20 cedis.
Exactly.
And now that you are bringing fully full cylinders and I want to buy 20 cedis,
do I have the money
how do I have the money to buy 20 cedis? And the explanation PA is given is that, one, it's a challenge, and that's why they are not phasing out the old system immediately. They want to run it side by side and see how that will impact, see the numbers. And then secondly, even today, there are stations you can go and just take a cylinder on credit. It has a meter on it. And per that one, when you pay, then they release the meter for you. If you use the amount to pay, it's finished. So that option is there. But when the policy becomes fully operational, those cylinders may be in the system. Because for the NPA policy, the minimum will be 6 kg to any higher number. So those challenges, NPA says, whilst the policy is running side by side, they will look at those who are buying 10 CD, 20 CD, and then the data will come because now they are collecting cards, Ghana cards of people. So they will now have data that will guide them at the next step, how they can deal with those who are buying in minimum quantity. So I think that if a policy started 10 years ago, and still we are not able to roll it out, it's even a sign of like probably the policy is a failed policy or something. So I think that once they are doing side by side, we are doing side by side. I think that let's start with it. We are not being asked to close down immediately. They leave that option to you for now. If you still want to distribute the cells, still have the filling station, you keep doing it, and then along the way, you see how. So I think that you see this thing what they are doing, you see, it's all about safety because of these explosions and all. So they think that they could do this in a more reliable and safe manner for all of us. And for me, my happiness is where this thing can go to rural areas.
Access to
where I'm not thinking about, I'm going to pay transportation alone, but it's more than the cost of the gas I'm going to buy. But now they say even in my village, I'll get the gas at the same price, just like fuel is distributed across Ghana at the same price. So now I can just walk to a small center in my village, pick a gas, go and use it and bring it back.
On the same score, there are concerns of equitable distribution in the event that there's a shortage of the product itself, and that some areas that have the distributors or the filling stations more will have access to the products than areas where they don't have more of the distributors there?
Is that a question?
Yes. I mean, it's all tied in the education bits.
Yeah. So I think that Elvis spoke a lot, and I mean he's educated me more and more. I feel that there's a need for more stakeholder consultation. You get it. For now, the discussion is just even between the regulator, okay, as in the
private businessmen.
And then the private businessmen. How many of them have come out to say that, listen, we can do it, and this is how we're going to do it, okay? So I would like to see the companies that are, or somebody popping up saying that, okay, you know what, this is the strategy. This is how we're going to do it. And then let that person or that company engage the public more and more. Because as of now, we only have the states talking.
Yeah.
Does the state, have the capacity to do the things that they are talking about? Oh, it sounded very beautiful. That I go to my village and then I walk to a filling station. Not
a filling station, just
okay,
like a small
yeah,
shop.
okay. So let's say gas supermarket.
Yes, gas supermarket.
Gas supermarket. Right. And then I pick, give me 20 kg or give me that, and so on.
Yeah.
You get it. It sounded very beautiful. I pay for it, I pick my thing, and off I go. Okay? Until it's exhausted, I'm not back in there. It looks very beautiful and tidy. However, the sweetness of the pudding is what? It's in the eating.
Yeah.
And so we've all been, victims of how the state comes out full and say that, listen, I can do this. And then the implementation starts, and then we are here. I'm told that this whole thing started somewhere 2017. 2017, and the people have been resisting it.
Yeah.
Elvis just went further and said, oh, it actually even started in 2013. And if in 2013 we are still where we are, then there's more that we need to do, and then get everybody involved. Marketers, what do you think should be done? Yeah. Can we put up a committee in place that has everybody, consumers, the marketers, the MPA, educating us that, okay, we can do this within two months or 3 months. And that when we do it, as and when we go, there's always a need where, you have to even tweak, the policy as and when you go. But what we have here now is just everybody talking and saying that, oh, we can do it. We can do it. Delays more. You need to talk to us more and more. I remember Tampuli also started talking about this thing. Tampuli is now in Parliament. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mustafa is out there and so on. And something has to be done. The engagement process has to be enhanced. Our forest, our stake, it's virtually gone now. And something has to be done. Yeah. Again, consumer issues. Where you go, most of these filling stations, what happens is you go, you pay for a particular kg, and then they give you something else.
So that issue will be resolved.
You get it
at the factory.
And so if this can be done very well, and then MPA begins to play a more regulatory and then develops a very strong punitive measures, such that, listen, what I paid for, I should get the value.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So I want to see MPA leading that kind of, that drive more and more. For me, I'm all for it.
But all in all, a good policy.
Oh yeah, I mean, it sounds
the marketers, the problem is that the OMC's problem is that they have spent so much money to set up the existing system.
Yes.
And facing it out means that their investment is at stake. For many of them, they went for loans to be able to establish this huge infrastructure.
They've not made their money till now. They've not made their money till now.
That is what they are. That is the
how long will it take to make
so it's an issue of the private investors' interest versus the public interest.
Right.
For the marketers who are talking, it's about their interest.
Has this
about-
thing been
maybe-
piloted? Has this thing been piloted?
No, that's what's going
yeah.
to in September.
Is the piloting that?
Yeah, that's
no,
what
but
it-
you can't delay a
it-
pilot
it-
project.
yeah.
A pilot
So they are
thing, no.
starting
Uh-huh.
from so it's not
Yeah.
all the regions that's
And
going to
perhaps
get it
for
from
them
the beginning.
selling the product
That's-
directly is more profitable.
Because so
Yeah.
see, they are looking at how much money they will make from it.
That is when they give you the half full
Exactly.
tanks
Yeah.
and so on.
you
You
see,
get it. Uh-huh.
they are looking at their investment and how they think they should recoup the investment. But so it got to a point, NPA actually stopped licensing construction of
Yes.
this.
Okay.
And they did a lot of demonstration against NPA.
No, but no, this that particular halt was because of the safety issues that were happening. all
Yeah,
around.
but the
That's
point
why
is
after the
NPA also didn't want
Yeah, the
them.
explosions. Yeah.
They were also not supposed to do
Yeah.
further investment because this policy will not permit you to
Permit
have
you to,
a
yes,
filling
wow.
station. So
Wow.
they are looking at their investment and how much money they make
Right.
against the public interest. So
Right.
a lot of the agitation from their side is more about we have invested so much money. You are asking us we should abandon all these gas tanks and everything, and now you are going to fill cylinders and come and put there. Now 4 bottling plants are ready.
Right.
There are 4 companies that are manufacturing the cylinders. All of them are manufacturing locally so that the standard can be checked. So all those things have been done. Now for them, it's not in their interest because they are looking at how much money they want to make.
Right.
So I think this kind of opposition, it's NPA's duty to make sure that they get the ordinary person to get a better understanding of the policy. Then they will understand that it's in their interest.
Granted.
But when they leave a vacuum for these marketers to continuously be complaining, then the public will feel like, oh, maybe what they are bringing
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So I think that it's the business. At a point, business may go well or may not go, depending on, and that's how government policy affects
Even
business.
regardless,
Is
I
it-
think for these marketers, if they're able to strategize well, they should. Be
Yeah, in fact, the
able to make
NPA's
some
point
money
is that
in
yes, even maybe you even make more money, because now if the numbers that are buying are more, then it means that you should even make more money. But the current
And we are
situation
taking
where
the
you are,
risk also
yeah,
away
you
from
are
you.
located at one place. The person like traveling from this far to this place is too far, so I won't go. It's actually denying you some money. So even if you, the marketer, do a better job, and you even have. They even have a chance for the marketers to actually register retailers who will come and pick the cylinders in maybe 40, 50 and take it to their rural communities. As Larry has said, LPG supermarkets.
Obviously, we have just about 2 minutes, but I just want to pick your thoughts briefly on Ken Ofori-Atta, saying that calls for his dismissal justified, but he wanted to stay and work for Ghana. Has he worked, and should he go now?
But the man said he wanted to stay and work for Ghana, so he's not ready to go. That's what he said. But I think that if I were him, I would not comment on this because the issue of him to go has actually died down. A comment like this has resurrected the whole conversation around it. If I were him or I was his communication person managing him, I would not let him comment on this issue because if you say it's justified, the question is why didn't you go? Did you not go because you want the president hands to be tied for people to think that the president is unable to sack you? You see, so if you make this comment, you open up the hole for people to now begin to so you admit that you should have gone. So the question, why didn't you go?
Yeah.
So are you deliberately putting the president in a tight corner that I'm not ready to go, if you like sack me the president? So I think that at this point, if I were his communication person, I would have advised him not to even comment
on
at
this.
all because you don't need to open up this issue.
Larry, the president asked that we allow him to complete the IMF deal. So is it time for him to pack out?
The president has made a lot of promises that he hasn't kept. This is one of them. That there will be a discussion about this thing after the IMF thing goes through. The man is still at post. You see, there's something called political legitimacy when you are in such offices. How do people perceive you? Do they believe that you can do the job? And are you doing it well? He says, last week he said the economy has taken the corner and it's going now. I mean, some corners you can be stuck in a certain corner for a very long time.
Yeah.
Do you get it? You can be stuck there forever and ever.
Right.
Okay, so does he have the legitimacy? Are people just waiting that, listen, enough of it. We don't want to talk about it anymore. I mean, whatever they will do, let them just do it and go.
After all, you have just a few months to live.
And then even the MPs who are saying that, hey, the man should go, these days,
Now they are quiet
yeah,
on
one
the
of them recently said that Otunfo called him and said
Oh,
that,
they
hey,
say it's fake. They say it's fake. Please, I'm fake. They said it was fake. He didn't say anything.
All right, thank you,
I
sir.
saw that
Thank you
thing
so
and then I'm like, then when the man came and
who said that? But has he issued a statement?
Yeah, I read it. It's fake. Yeah, I read that.
I have
Yeah,
not
it
seen
is
that
fake.
statement, so I
I've read
can't
it.
comment on
Which
it.
of the statement?
The one condemning or disassociating himself.
Yes,
from
but you heard the one that
yes,
said,
that
yeah.
he says the Otunfo has called him and what.
Yes.
Yes.
But,
Anyways,
but
thank you guys so
even
much.
they
Thank you so
themselves,
much.
I mean, they
Now they
said-
are quiet on the matter.
Yes.
And
Now
that
they
was
are
why
quiet
I
on
think
the
that the
matter.
finance minister shouldn't
Should
bring
have
it
also
up.
stayed
Because even
quiet.
the people who want you to go,
Now they are quiet.
they are quiet. So then why? And the
All right.
IMF, please, we are not done with the IMF.
Well, we have to wrap it up.
We are not done with the negotiation with the.
Do you think he's performed?
Do
you think he's performed?
The bondholders. We are not done with the
Elvis.
Paris
We are-
Club.
I want him to answer. Do you think he's
Please,
performed?
We're out of time. We're out of time. We're out of time. But I'm sure we'll have that
Yeah, we have to start that
conversation
issue.
backstage. But thank you so very much, Elvis Darko, editor of the Finder newspaper, and Larry Dogbe, editor of the Herald newspaper. This is Breakfast Daily. We have more for you. Do stay.